Hello, seeing if you can hear me.
Uh, Yeah, Patrick, can you unmute the participants?
Uh, I can ask to unmute them, but they have to unmute them themselves.
Right, okay. Okay, all right, folks, we'll get started. My name's Eric Saunders, and thanks for coming today. I'm certainly happy to, talk about QuickBooks and answer questions if you have them. If you if you want to, talk, you got to make sure you unmute your speaker there, your microphone. But feel free to ask questions as we go along, and we can ask at the end. I'll stay around if you have any more specific questions um, on your own situation. So just to get started, so again, I'm Eric Saunders. I'm a mentor with SCORE and Youngstown. So for those of you who may or may not know about SCORE, what we do, the two main things we do are we mentor people, small business, if you're starting a small business, or if you have a small business and you'd like to get some free mentoring, it's all free. You can meet with one of our counselors. We have a lot of counselors here in Youngstown, and obviously many more throughout the country. Wide range of expertise. So if you want, help with marketing or selling or legal, bookkeeping, accounting, business plans, all sorts of things. So feel free to contact us, and we can hook you up with a mentor that meets what you're looking for. So again, the two main things that SCORE does is the mentoring and also these webinars, which were previously workshops, one-on-one, group workshops, but since the pandemic, obviously, we've changed over to these webinars. Let's see. And we do the mentoring. We still do some face-to-face, but mostly video, phone, email. And there's our website. You can go to the website there and you can put in a request for a mentor by right there on the website. That's just about me. That's my email. And feel free to email me anytime if you have questions after today. If you'd like to, maybe have one-on-one about QuickBooks, just send me an email. And excuse me, if you want a copy of the slide deck, send me an email. I'll send you the slide deck. Disclaimer, QuickBooks, we don't endorse it. We got no connection. We're not getting paid, and so on. It's just so you're aware. So, I can walk us through these areas here to give you some ideas about some of the more nice, good features about QuickBooks. And I could, stop at the end of each section and see if you have questions. But right at this point, does anybody have a question or an area you'd like to talk about right now? Again, if you want to speak, you need to unmute your microphone. So does anybody have any specific thing they'd like to ask at this point? Okay. I guess not. All right.
Perry Chang asked, "What is QuickBooks?"
Okay. So QuickBooks is a computerized software program for keeping track of doing your bookkeeping for a business. So QuickBooks allows you to keep track of your revenue, keep track of your expenses, and get reports, once a week, once a month, whatever you want, on how your business is doing from a financial perspective. So it's a software program. It's probably the most used accounting or bookkeeping software in the country. It's very good. It has a lot of features that can help you. But don't jump right into it. Don't go out and buy it until you've given it some thought and looked at it through your own research and through a webinar like today. So that's what QuickBooks is. Now, there's also other ways of doing your bookkeeping that are even more simpler. For example, using an Excel spreadsheet. But today's topic is QuickBooks, so that's what we'll do. So in QuickBooks itself, which I'll show you, this is just a few of the some of the nice tips or whatever. Let me see if I can get QuickBooks here. Yeah, I gotta be able to switch over. Just give me a minute. Yeah.
You might have to stop sharing and then click share screen again to select
Yeah.
QuickBooks.
Okay.
Vivian posted a question in chat as well.
What's that?
Vivian posted a question in chat.
Okay. Somewhere, let me just find out where I got it. Okay, here we go. So this is the main screen for QuickBooks. What was the question in Vivian had?
She asked, what is the best way to pay vendors so it will not conflict the bank account and charge double on the QuickBooks end?
Right, so that question relates to downloading your transactions. So QuickBooks, so if you have a transaction, in other words, you collect a check with revenue or you pay a bill like a vendor, you have a choice of either when you pay a bill, you can enter it directly right here on this screen you see here into QuickBooks as an expense. Or instead of entering every single transaction, QuickBooks can link to your bank account, and then you can just download all the transactions from the bank directly into QuickBooks. So what happens is sometimes people enter a transaction manually right here in QuickBooks, and then they go download from the bank and you get the same transaction for a second time. So you don't want to do both. You want to do one or the other. And downloading is a real nice feature. It's efficient, but you have to know what you're doing. We're going to talk about that subject in a little bit. So just a couple of tips here. Let me see if I can move this. Your main navigation is over here on the left. Okay. To move through different parts. So here's your expenses. So like I said, if you want to enter an expense, you click expenses. If you want to create a vendor, you click vendor. And the advantage to creating a vendor is that you can get a report from QuickBooks on your vendors. So you could ask after a given year or even a month or whatever, you could say, give me a list of the vendors and how much I paid each one. And that's what the advantage of entering vendors, which is very easy to do. So these are some vendors that I created. This is a dummy company, by the way, this beauty salon. Excuse me, it's a dummy company that I entered just for presentation purposes. So here's a vendor, Annie Oakley, Boston Advertising. Here's where up here in the green thing here, you see this new vendor. So to create a vendor, you just click that and you put in the name, the address, all the data about that vendor. And then you save it and you will have created a vendor. So again, this is for entering expenses. This one, sales, is where you enter when you sell something. So those are the two main things. So all I'm pointing out here is that your main navigation is over here on the left. The other one I want to point out is up here, this little gear icon. So this is where you do background stuff in the background and administrative setup for your company. So if I click the gear icon here, it gives you this dialog box, and you set up your company right here under your company accounts and settings. And you can do a lot more things, but this is not entering transactions. This is, like I said, background administrative things. So we'll talk more about these as we move along.
I can't see the gear icon because I can see you.
Can anybody see it or just?
I can. If you double click on the screen and to make it full screen, can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay, all right, sorry.
Okay. All right. So, all right, can you see this slide again?
No, we still see QuickBooks.
I gotta keep, I know there's wait, I don't have to stop sharing. I can just jump between them. I don't know why that doesn't work. Share.
You have to share your screen instead of the application.
Now. How about now?
There you go. Yep.
Okay, so that's some of this stuff right here. All right, so this is just a quick little thing, cash method versus accrual. When you first set up QuickBooks, it's going to ask you, do you want to use the cash method or the accrual method? It's not a big deal, but just so you know the difference, the cash method for small business is probably sufficient. It's the simplest way, and that means you only record transactions when you actually spend $1 or you collect $1. So I would recommend for small business using the cash method. And the accrual method, if you're more savvy with bookkeeping, then the accrual method is more accurate. Excuse me just 1 minute. And I'll show you in the company setup where you elect cash or accrual. Which is what it says here. So, if you want to bill people, you can still do that on the cash basis. That's another feature of QuickBooks that allows you. I mean, that's one nice, really, really nice feature. You can create an invoice and bill your customer by using QuickBooks and just email it directly to them, email the bill or the invoice directly to them through QuickBooks. And QuickBooks keeps track of who owes you money. So just a word of caution. If you bill somebody, if you create an invoice, which is very easy to do in QuickBooks, and you email it out to your customer, QuickBooks records what's called an accounts receivable. Now, when the money comes in, you have to be careful not to record it as a cash receipt, but you have to record it as a payment on a receivable that was previously recorded. So you just got to be careful about that. That's where a lot of people make mistakes. Because when QuickBooks, when you bill somebody and QuickBooks records it as receivable, it at the same time it records the revenue. So when the cash comes in, you don't want to record it as revenue, because it'll be recorded twice that way. You want to make sure it gets posted against the receivable. So anyway, the main thing about QuickBooks or any software program is you've got to get it set up. It's important to set it up right from the start. And that's one of the foundation building blocks to get you started properly. And I'm going to show you how. We'll go through that a little bit. One thing I want to do before we move further, I got another screen I want to share with you. Let's see, give me a minute and I'll find it. See what I can do here, hold on. Just give me a second. I got it here. Okay. Let me see if I can share this with you.
I can see the QuickBooks page, if that's what you're looking for.
Okay, good. All right, so this is what I wanted to show you. When in QuickBooks, there's different versions, okay? There's the online versions and there's the desktop versions. Those are the two main differences. And the biggest difference there is that an online version, you can access QuickBooks from any computer, anywhere, anytime, okay? Whereas a desktop version, you can only access it on the one computer desktop that you have it on. So if you're going to have a bookkeeper, you probably want online. Or if you want to be able to access it anywhere, anytime, you probably want online. And we also, or at least I recommend online for small business. It's one of the online versions, not the desktop. I'll tell you why in a second. So here are the online versions that you can get. There's Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced. What I'm demonstrating to you today is the Plus, this one. That's the one I recommend for small businesses. The Essentials and the Simple Start are okay, they're good. But I think of them, they're more of an electronic checkbook. And they don't give you, you can see the little check marks down here as to what each one gives you or doesn't give you. So without going through all that, if you want to consider getting QuickBooks, I recommend Plus right here. There's $35 a month, and these fees here, that's a little misleading. Those are introductory rates, and they usually give them to you for something like 3 months or something, and then they usually double these amounts going forward. So these are the QuickBooks, again, online versions.
Perry, I will get to your question in a minute, but Ashley asked, do you have to renew/pay annually to continue to review history? Or as long as you had an account at some point, you can still get into the history.
You can always get into the history as long as you're paying your monthly fee.
Right,
Yeah.
so if you don't pay it, then I don't believe you'll be able
Right.
to get into it to see it.
No, you won't be able, you don't pay the fee. It's shut off, basically. Yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Perry Chang asked earlier on a different subject, but he said, what happens if someone doesn't pay you?
What happened? Oh, you mean like somebody that owes you money?
Hunt them down.
Hey, oh, Patrick, you could probably answer that. Yeah,
So
I
the-
mean, that's part of business, right? I don't know, Patrick, what are your thoughts?
Hunt them down.
Yeah,
Knock on their door. QuickBooks won't help you with that part, though.
no, you
But
gotta,
QuickBooks, once you post it like that, QuickBooks is hoping that they're gonna pay you, right?
absolutely. Yep. But,
QuickBooks,
that's a part of having a business. Sometimes you gotta chase people to get your money.
Like-
But yeah, QuickBooks does not do that for you. So again, these are the online versions. Now, as I mentioned, there's a desktop version or versions. The desktop versions, there's I don't know, 2 or 3 of them. They are, you pay for those, you buy them one time. So, you might pay $400, $500, $600 to buy, depending on, what level you want, to buy a desktop version. Now, the desktop versions are way more robust than the online. And I recommend the desktop version more for larger businesses, particularly if you have inventory or you manufacture, because inventory accounting is a whole different thing. It's pretty complex, and so is manufacturing. But the desktop versions are designed more for businesses that do that sort of thing. So if you have like warehouses full of inventory, or you produce inventory, or you manufacture anything, then the desktop versions are more appropriate. But they're a lot more powerful, and they give you a lot more than you need for your everyday small business. Everything we talk about today, you can do the same thing in the desktop versions, but the user interfaces look different. That's the main thing. So again, all I'm doing here is just talking about versions. And you want to, before you ever buy QuickBooks, you want to take time to, like I said, study what the different ones give you, and don't buy the one that is not good for your business. Okay. All right. I can get rid of this one. Let's see. Go back to the slides. If I can do that. Okay. Can you see the QuickBooks again?
Yes, I can see that.
Okay. Let me just all right. Can you see the slides?
Correct.
Okay. So as I was saying before we went over there, company setup is an important thing, important place to start. So again, I'll walk you through that real quick. But as it says right here, don't worry about answering every single item or making a mistake, because you can always go back and change or update an item. So all right, can you see the QuickBooks? We doing okay?
Yep, I can see it. You're doing good.
Okay, so remember up here at the gear icon, I told you this is for background administrative stuff, right? So we click the gear icon. Over here under your company, we click accounts and settings. And this is where you set up your company. So you're going to put in your company name, your EIN, identification number, tax form, that's not so, not real important really, but, you know, contact information, phone numbers, all the basic data. So that's not hard to do. You can turn features on and off here, depending on what you want. You know, do you want to include shipping, for example, right here on your invoices? You click that and turn it on, okay? On and off. So there's all this different features you can do in here. This is with sales. See on the left, I'm using this again, this menu here to guide myself through it. Expenses, same things. You can turn features on and off. So I don't want to spend hours in here going through all these things, but this is where you set up your company and how you want things to work in QuickBooks. So just take your time going through this. One of the more important areas down here at the bottom where it says advanced. So these are important. So this dummy company I set up, the beauty salon, I'm saying that it has a June 30 year end. So the first month of my year would be July, right? So now most of you are going to be, the first month of the year would be January, okay? Remember I told you right here about accrual versus a cash? So accounting method, you click on that and right here is you click accrual or cash basis. Now I have it set to accrual because of my demonstration. I want to be able to do certain things, but you just can elect cash basis right there. Excuse me. This one here, enable account numbers. I have that turned on. I think that's very important. Excuse me. You do not need to use account numbers, but they're very good to use them because it makes things easier. If you have a whole bunch of invoices that you're going to give a bookkeeper, you can just write the account number that you want the bookkeeper to post it to on the invoice, rather than write out, put this to telephone, put this to utility, electric, whatever. You just have account numbers. It's just, I think they're good to have. This classes is a great feature of QuickBooks. I always recommend it. I'm going to show you why it's so good. But what it does, I have it turned on. You can track if you have multiple locations, in other words, you have 2 or 3, 4, stores right over here. You can track your transactions by the type of store, my store, department, or by a division, by a location, a property. So if you own multiple real estate properties, you would click property, and that way you can track all your transactions property by property. So I have it set to store because this dummy company, this beauty salon, I have like 3 different locations. So I set it to store. I'll show you what the beauty of that in a minute. So this track locations, or track classes right here is I think very important to track locations. There's other things you can turn on and off here. If you want to do project accounting, you can do that. Time tracking, currency, that's very rare. That'd be if you're using multiple, international currencies, so you don't have to worry about that. So again, this whole menu to your left over here, just go through it and set up your company as best you can and use things that are good for your company. So what I want to just show you quick, let me get out of here. By setting up classes, I'm going to go over here to reports. And let me just find the one QuickBooks gives you like hundreds of reports, and they're all here. The ones with the green star mean that they're all down here. The ones that are important to me, I can turn the star to green and it puts it up at the top, so they're always there for me, the most common ones that I use. Now, remember I said it, you see this profit and loss by class? So I have to go back in time because I set up this dummy company, I think in 2019. Let me just maybe it was 18. Yeah. So my using classes. Remember, I told you I set up classes, and this is a different thing. I'm in the wrong report. This is something else I want to show you, but I'm sorry. Let me go to the right profit report here. Profit and loss by store. I'm going to change this back to 2018 when I set up the company. See this? So I set up my beauty salon. I said I have 3 stores, one in Arlington, one in Boston, and one in Watertown. So because back in the company setup, I turned on stores. It gives me every time whenever I record a transaction, I can tell it what store it belongs to, and then you get this report you see here. By store. Or you can do it by division, by department, by property. So that's a real nice feature of QuickBooks. So going back here. So that's a quick walkthrough of company setup. Anyone got any questions at the moment? Okay. Chart of accounts. This is where you use account numbers. A chart of accounts you set up, again, when you're setting up your company is when you set up your chart of accounts, which is very important to have a good chart of accounts. Again, I want to share another screen with you. Just give me a minute to go find it, to go get it. Can you see a spreadsheet or no?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So here's a sample chart of accounts that I just made on a spreadsheet. So you can see on the left side, left column, those are assets. Which your assets are things that you own, and you have your liabilities are things that you owe, and the difference is equity. And then on the right side, next column, column E, is where you set up your income and your expenses. Okay. Now, you don't need to have this cost of goods sold unless you sell products and you want to keep track of it that way. You can just have revenue and expenses. But for the beauty salon, I did set up cost of goods sold. So what I always recommend you do before you set up a chart of, this is called a chart of accounts. Before you set this up in QuickBooks, I recommend you do it like this on a spreadsheet so you can look at it first and get it straight in your head. It just helps you visualize it better before you go into QuickBooks. Start doing it, make mistakes, try to fix it. It's better to do it on a spreadsheet and give it some thought. These numbers here are what I was talking about, account numbers, which you do not have to have for QuickBooks, but I recommend them. The numbers I used here, you can use any numbering scheme you want. It can be 10 digits long, 2 digits. I used 4 digits. You can make any number you want. But as you can see, I use the 1,000 for these assets, 1,200 in this area, 2,000, so it's like, that like they're the same. For sales, I use 4,000. For cost of good, I use 5 and 6, and so on. You can also break your expenses into groups. For example, this is a group right here, right? Under occupancy, you can put, this group, if you like to have them in groups like this. So again, all I'm saying is I recommend you set up a chart of accounts on a spreadsheet and put it down for a day, pick it up tomorrow and look at it again and keep thinking through how you want your accounts to be. That makes sense for you. Because the way you set up the chart of accounts is the way you're going to get the financial reports that are the most important thing of all for you. So that's a chart of accounts. And you can set it up. Once you have this, you go into QuickBooks and set it up by looking at this off the spreadsheet. Or you can actually download it from the spreadsheet itself if you're really good at that stuff. Let's see. Anyway, so you can see the slides again, yes?
Yep.
Okay. So that's just again about what we were talking about. QuickBooks, top paragraph, they can provide you with their own chart of accounts. When you do that company setup that we were talking about a little while ago, a few minutes ago, it asks you what kind of a business are you, and you tell it, it gives you a menu to pick from, and when you tell it what kind of business you are, it'll select one of its own suggested templates for you to use as a chart of accounts, which you can use, and that's very easy if you like it, and you can use what they suggest, they give you, and you can take that, accept it, and you can then modify it. So that's another way to get a good chart of accounts. One thing I always forget, I don't think I have a slide here, but I want to mention. The dummies books? Well, the QuickBooks for Dummies is really good books to use for reference, to look up how to do things for QuickBooks. So you can get the QuickBooks for Dummies from Amazon or from the Dummies website itself. And again, like there are many versions of QuickBooks, there's many versions of Dummies books. So, pick the book that fits the software, the version of QuickBooks that you're in. But I just want to point out, those Dummies books are really good if you're going to be using QuickBooks. They're very good references. They're reference book. Okay, chart of accounts. So again, you go to the gear icon. Remember up here, the gear icon. And right over here under company chart of accounts, see it? You click on that. And here's the chart of accounts that you just saw in the spreadsheet that I then put in the QuickBooks right here. Okay. This is what you were just looking on the spreadsheet. And if you want to create from scratch, you just use new. And right here, you can create a new account right here. And you tell it, what kind of account are you creating? Is it a bank account, an equity, an income account, an expense account? And here's where you put in the account numbers. All right, like I showed you on the spreadsheet. And then you save it and you've created an account. So that's how you do that in QuickBooks. Okay, so before we move on, those were the two basic fundamental building blocks for your business in QuickBooks. One is the account company setup, where you give it all the name of your company, the address, phone number. You select turning features on and off that you want. So that was one. And the other one is creating a basic chart of accounts that is good and works well for your business. So those are the two basic features to get you started. Part two, we're going to talk more about some of the nice features that QuickBooks has for you to use. Especially the second to last item here, this financial reports. That's the end goal, is to get good, reliable financial reports out of QuickBooks that will tell you how you're doing financially. All right, we're going to talk about downloading bank credit card transaction, creating lists, creating products and services. I'll show you examples of all those as we go along. So downloading bank and credit cards, as I mentioned back in the beginning, you can link your QuickBooks to your bank account. Every bank allows that. I've never heard of a bank that you can't do that with. So if you link your QuickBooks to your bank, like I said, instead of entering every transaction one by one as you make them, you can just wait, like say till the end of the month, turn on the link to the bank, and boom, every transaction comes into QuickBooks. Now, what it does when you do that, all the transactions come into QuickBooks, but they're held in a temporary file. They don't go out to all the accounts. It puts it in a temporary file in QuickBooks. In QuickBooks, you look at the file, and it shows you where QuickBooks thinks it should post each transaction. So in other words, if it sees an expense going out to the electric company, QuickBooks will suggest that it gets posted to the utility account. All right. And so you go through and you say you agree, or you can change each individual transaction to where you don't want it to go where QuickBooks suggests it goes. You just click on it and you can change it to whatever account you want it to go to. So it's a very efficient way of downloading all your stuff without having to enter everything one at a time. Online banking, again, that's just something that I always suggest you do. QuickBooks also does give you an ability to print checks. You can buy checks, blank checks from QuickBooks or from Intuit, and you can use QuickBooks to print the checks. But with today's world of online banking, where you can just pay directly, through your bank, then you don't have to write checks. If you print checks, use QuickBooks. You got to print them, you got to sign them, you got to put them in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and take them to the post office. Well, online banking, you can avoid all that. So we certainly recommend you use online banking.
We had another question here. Is there any way to delete an account on the chart account?
Yes. Yes and no. I'll show you. Hold on. Excuse me. Okay. So. I think, I mean, this thing, that's not it. Uh, mm, there's a way to make them inactive. Oh yeah, right here. So I'm sorry. So I'm in chart of accounts. And over here where you see this little black thing, you click on any account. And right here, it says make inactive. If you click on that, the account will go away. So you can never delete anything in QuickBooks, but you can make them inactive, which means they go away, they hide in the background. One thing about that, you cannot make an account inactive if there is as much as 1 penny in it. It has to have a 0 balance. If there are any transactions in a given account, you cannot make it inactive, only if it's empty, so to speak. So once you make account inactive, it goes away. You won't see it here. Okay. So supposing you make it inactive and then the next day you go, oh, I should have done it. I need it back. Or a month from now, you need it back. So again, see this gear icon? You click on that. This is just telling QuickBooks on this report of, what columns I want to see. But you see right here, include inactive. I just clicked it. So any inactive accounts will now reappear. They'll come back. So hopefully that answers your question. No, you can't delete it, but you can hide it in the background. Okay. All right.
Then Chantel said that bringing up reconciling is important. That's her biggest problem. I have a hard time choosing where to place things, basically how to categorize transactions.
Difficulty categorizing transactions when
Reconciling.
when you reconcile. Yeah. Well, what do you mean categorize? You mean what account to put them to? Is that the question? I'm not sure. Can the person unmute themselves and speak? All right. Well, we'll keep going. I'll wait to hear. All right. One nice feature of QuickBooks, it allows you to create what they call lists. There are 3 main lists. You can create a list of customers, a list of vendors, and a list of employees. The advantage to doing that is that if I create lists of customers, I can ask QuickBooks to give me a report at any given time. And I can say, give me a list of all my customers and how much they've paid me over the past month or past year. I can do the same with vendors. If I create vendors, I can ask for a report that shows me how much one vendor or all vendors are, how much I paid them over the past year, or month, or week. And the same with employees. So it allows you to keep track in financial reports, like I said. Also, when you create a customer, it's real easy to bill them because you don't have to enter all their information once, every time you want to bill them. You create them as a customer one time. As soon as you start typing their name, all their data pops up already filled in for you. Same with the vendor. So create lists. To do so, we're going to go to the left side of the navigation menu. Where we were in the beginning of the presentation, click on sales to create a customer. We're going to click on expenses to create a vendor. I'm going to skip employees for now. And we'll look at some financial reports. So again, okay, so I want to go home first. All right, so here's sales. And right here, we're going to create a customer by clicking customers. Now, again, here's a customers I already created. The reason I created a customer called miscellaneous income, this is just maybe a little tip. I'm running a beauty salon, correct? So I have people come in, customers come in, then just pay me cash. They're not regular customer, may not be regular. So I got a lot of walk-in retail stuff. I don't want to create a customer for every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes through the door. So I put all those sales to a customer called miscellaneous income. However, the ABC Beauty School and the Independent Living Center, they send me customers all the time, and I want to keep track of those customers by them. So I'm sorry, this is the retail and walk-ins right here. So that's why I created that. So anyway, to create a customer, up here top right, new customer, boom. And again, just fill in this data, right? And save it. And that's all there is to it. You've created a customer. Vendors goes under expenses right here. Vendors. And here's the vendors I created for my beauty salon. Lancome, because I buy a lot of shampoo from them, right? Eversource, that's who I pay the electric bill. And again, you want to create a new vendor, top up right here, new vendor. Click it. It's just like a customer, except now it's a vendor. Remember, a customer is somebody you sell to, and vendor is somebody you buy from. So it's just like the customer, except now it's a vendor. You create, fill in the information and save it, and you've created a vendor. So I'm going to go to reports. And again, let me just find one. Expenses. Now, because I created vendors, here it gives me expenses by vendor. Gotta go back to 2018. Yeah. So I can run a report and I say, I want to know how much I paid to each of my vendors. Well, here it is. Okay. There they all are. And what is that? I don't know what all those lines are. Anyway, so here's all the expenses I paid my vendor. Okay. That's the advantage of setting up vendors. We go back to reports again. I don't know what, can you see those yellow lines?
Yeah, I can see. They're
Oh,
gone now.
they went away. I don't know what those were. Let me just find, Profit loss by class. Sales by products. Okay. I don't know, I got the report here somewhere, but it gives you the same report. It shows you how much I sold to each customer. So again, it's just, that's setting up lists, setting up customers and setting up vendors. Okay. Another list is called products and services. So supposing you sell different products or different types of services, and you would like QuickBooks to give you a report on how much you sold of each of your products or each of your different kind of services. You can do that in QuickBooks also by setting up your products and services. Excuse me. You can also indicate, well, I'll show you how to do it in a minute, but you can also keep track of if an item is taxable or not, and it'll automatically add sales tax to your customer's bill. You can assign, so when you set up a product or a service, when you set it up, you can assign a sale account number to remember the chart of accounts. So if I sold 3 different type, if I sold shampoo, conditioner, and nail polish, I could set those 3 things up as different products and have, whenever I sell one, it would automatically go to the right sales account in my chart of accounts. All right, so and you can create sub products or services. For example, if you sell shoes, you can have a report that gives you these subcategories. How much of women's shoes did you sell? How much of men's shoes or children's shoes? So let's see where you set that up. Again, we're gonna go to the gear icon. Remember, it's a background administrative thing. We go up here to the gear icon. You see right here, products and services. So here's, in the beauty salon, I set up my products. I'll show you how to create a new one up here, but I already set up. I wanted to get a report that tells me how much men's conditioner did I sell, how much women's conditioner did I sell. On this over here on the services, I want to tell me how much hair care how much I made on hair care for men, how much I made for hair care for women. How much manicure and pedicure I did for men, for women, how much I made in massages for men, massages for women, how much I sold of blue nail polish, red nail polish, men's shampoo. So you see, some of these are products, which I'm calling non-inventory, and some of them are services. But I can now because I set these up, I can get reports that tells me how much I sold of each of these things. So again, you go to new, and if you're setting up a product, use non-inventory, because small businesses, see this down here, inventory, you don't want to deal with inventory. Just call it non-inventory if you're setting up a product. And if you're setting up a service, then use this one, service. So you just click on there, and the service here is whatever I want it to be, massages, men, whatever. Let me open one I already set up. So here's one I set up. It's a men's conditioner, which means, see, it's not, I selected non-inventory because it's a product. It's men's conditioner. You can use SKU number if you want. I don't use category. Class is conditioner. I'll talk more about that in a minute. I sell this product or service to my customers. So whenever I record a sale of this conditioner, I wanted to record it in, remember the chart of accounts? They're all right here. I picked the one I wanted to go to. And then from now on, whenever I record a sale of conditioner, it's going to automatically go to this sales account. I can put in here how much I sell a bottle of conditioner for if I want. So I could, if I put in $4.50, when I record the sale, it's automatically going to record it at $4.50. I didn't do that because I might, I want to put it in the amount that I sold it for one at a time when I sell it, because I might change the price from day to day. Do I purchase this from a vendor? Well, yes, I do. I buy it from Bumble and Bumble. So whenever I buy this conditioner, QuickBooks will automatically record it to whatever account I want, which I picked here. And that sets up, so now I've set up a product or service. So what does all that mean? We go to reports, and I find a report by product, sales by product and services right here. Gotta go back to 2018. And here it tells me how much I sold of each of my products and each of my services. Okay. So very nice feature. All right. I want to speed up a little bit. Classes. That's the one where I kind of went over before, where I set up stores. So it gives me a report. I mean, you can set it up by location, department, however you want. I picked stores because I have 3 beauty salons, and it gives me my send up classes. Remember back in when we did the company setup, you have to turn on the feature for classes. And then once you do that, you can create reports that give you a report by location, department, stores, whatever. Excuse me. Sometimes I've had people say, I can't find classes. It won't let me put in any classes. Well, that's because in the company setup, they didn't turn on the feature. That's what happens. All right, so real quick, again, we're doing administrative. I go to the gear icon. And you don't see, I don't know why QuickBooks does it, one of its quirks. You have to go to all lists. You see this over here, classes. Here's those classes I was just showing you. I mean, the classes I set up. Up here you create new. It's very easy to create a class. This is all you need is just put in this. Some classes are very helpful, but I don't want to take the time for that right now. Whoops, cancel. Okay. So, here's one. So this is the one where I set up conditioner. This is a class. That's all it takes. So what happens is, under when you record a revenue or an expense, let's just look real quick. Oh, QuickBooks marketing. because I turned on classes, see it open this right here, it says class. That dialog, if I did not turn on classes back in the company setup, this wouldn't be here. But because I turned it on and created classes, I already, here they all are. So when I record this expense, right, I can assign it to conditioner or whatever, whichever class I want. So that's how you do that. And then the same thing on the sales side. If I record a sale, I don't want to do that. I don't want to create that. No, I guess I have to do that. So, never-ending marketing. Get long here, all sales. Trying to find the right spot here. No. Okay. Again, on the sales side, when I record a sale, there's the box for the class, and I can assign it to whatever class I want, and the product and service. So again, going back to reports, let me just show you again. Profit and loss by class. Very, very nice report if you use classes. Oops. So here are my, my classes. So this tells me how much conditioner I sold, because every time I recorded a conditioner, a sale of conditioner, I used that little dialog box we were looking at. It tells me how much I made in hair care, mani-pedis, massage, so on and so forth, and how much I spent under how much I spent on their hair care, and it gives me a report and the net from all my activities.
Vivian in chat said, when I pay for a bill with a company credit card, then I pay the credit card through the checking. How should I go about creating the bill on this?
Okay, so if you pay by credit card, you have to think of it just like an expense. Okay, except instead of using a check, you're using the credit card, and you just record the expense, just like you would if you were writing a check. Now, if you want to get into accrual accounting, that's a different subject where you would record a payable for the credit card, but we just don't have time to go through that today. But I'm happy to talk to anybody anytime if you want to email me, and we can have a one-on-one Zoom meeting or phone call, and I can help you with some of the more intricate things. But for the time being, that's what I would say. Just because you pay with a credit card, just in your mind is just think of it no different than paying as if you paid by check. Right? I want to point out one thing real quickly here. You see this report? It says I had the gross revenue I have is over here is 12,595. Just remember that for 1 second, 12,000. And my net income down at the
Sorry,
bottom.
Vivian wanted to add to, she goes, then once we are paying for the credit card, how will that work out? I don't know. Maybe turning your microphone on would help explain that better.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why what you really need, if you're using
What my question was, if I'm using a credit card to pay a bill, and then I'm gonna pay the credit card, it's basically going into circles because I had to pay with a credit card for a transaction and I couldn't use the debit card. So I paid with a credit card. So now I've created the bill. My bill payment would be with the credit card, but then when I go to pay the credit card, how will that, do I create another bill for that? Explaining it?
No, that's why, are you downloading transactions from the bank or no?
Yes, I am.
Right, that's where you have to be very careful,
Mhm.
because, so when you, I mean, if you're downloading from the bank, the credit card payment will come into QuickBooks, and you're going to tell it what expense account you want it to go to, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so so then that's it. I mean, that's where it gets recorded in QuickBooks. Now are you saying it's going to get doubled up or something?
My question is basically I'm gonna pay through debit to the credit card company. So that will be, usually when I use credit card, it's for business expenses. So I put it under business expense. But in this case, it was for a client, for a customer, which was another vendor. And so I paid with the credit card, then I paid with the debit card to the credit card.
Uh, um, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to talk to you privately. It's, you paid a credit card bill with a debit card.
No, what I did was I ordered a product for a client. So I usually pay that with a debit card. So I paid it with a credit card because somehow the company couldn't charge my debit card for some reason. So I ended up paying with a credit card because I needed that item ASAP. So now I have it squared away where I'll create the bill and I'll put a bill payment through the credit card that I paid with a credit card. Now, when I go back and I'm gonna pay the credit card, my monthly bill, how do I go about that? Do I say that this bill, it's because it was paid to do I make a memo for that?
Can I ask, wouldn't you have the credit card company as a vendor?
Yes, I do, but I was trying to link the payment that I paid to the client. I'm a construction company, so I try to take out the expense from the customers. So when I have a customer, which I pay with my debit card, and that gets linked and all expenses gets deducted from it. But in this case, it is an expense that will get deducted from it, but I'm basically using the cash to pay the credit card. So in the credit card bill, which I spent $740, let's say, towards that client, now I'm going to pay the credit card. So I just don't know how to configure that.
Are you billing your customer for that same expense?
What I did, I create an invoice for the clients. So once they start paying me, I put that into the QuickBooks and basically the payments. But when I have to purchase products for them, I create a bill. And that bill now, which I'm waiting, I figured out that I have to wait for the banking because it's automatically downloaded and I'm linking it together. But in this case, I was obligated to pay with a credit card. So I paid with a credit card and then I came back and I paid the credit card with a debit card. So
That's what I know. You're saying you paid the credit card with a debit card, right?
correct.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's, it'd be beyond the scope of tonight. I can help you. Just email me and we can talk privately or
Okay.
offline. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is more complicated things to do with there. All right. Okay, so anyway, again, 12,000 in revenue, gross revenue. And you come down here, I've got a net income of $1,400. The reason, just remember that for 1 second. The reason I want to show you that, I'm going to go back to reports, and I'm going to look at my overall income statement, wherever that is, right here. See, there's that 12,000. There's the 1,400. So this is my company overall. By using classes, it breaks it out by, my product services or my stores, which is all a very nice thing. One other feature you also forget about, I want you to remember this in QuickBooks. Whenever you have a report or numbers in front of you like this, they're all hyperactive. See that, how it lights up? Any number you say, wait, you get down here and you look at rent, and you go 2,700. That doesn't look right. So you click on it, and it takes you back to the original entry or entries that created the 2,700, and you can find out like what doesn't look right. And again, you can click again and even go further back. They're all hyperactive. Anyway, that's just a quick aside. Okay. All right.
Perry, I'm sorry, Perry Chang was asking if you download all of the info from the bank. Sorry, I don't understand accounting that well. Is there any check against errors by the bank? So if you download all of the info from the bank, is there any check against errors by the bank?
No.
No.
What you see is what you get. So, banks are pretty accurate. But if you can download from the bank, you can also get a hard copy of the bank statement, obviously online from the bank. You can look at it, you can check everything. But
You
what
only
you
have to be
see on
worried about audits.
it,
Yeah, getting audited is what you have to worry about, I think.
Right. What you see on a paper bank statement is the same thing as what gets downloaded into QuickBooks. All right. All right, so that's create classes. Financial statements, the most common one on the income statement we just looked at. And the balance sheet. You can customize your reports. Now, again, on the left side where you saw me click on reports, that's where you get them. You've got to decide what numbers reports do you want to look at. Actuals to budget. By the way, you create a budget in QuickBooks. You want to look at actuals to actuals. In other words, right now it's March 31, almost. So do you want to look at the 3 January, February, March, the 3 first months in 2021 compared to the same 3 months in 2020? You can do that. You want to look at a monthly report, monthly, quarterly, year to date, and you can. It's all over the place. You can get whatever kind of report you want. You can slice them and dice them forever. Create a budget. That's easy to do. I think that's about it. Okay, so I want to just go one more time. These reports. At the end of the day, this is what is important to you, is to be able to get good reports that give you financial information, accurate financial information, to allow you to make good business decisions. And that's where you're trying to get, is into these reports. Like I said, down below, there's hundreds of different reports down here. And if I click, I can get any of these just clicking on it. It's just that I didn't save this one up at the top because it's not one I use all the time. The one last report I want to show you, because I think it's kind of one of the cool ones I like, or it's the only really cool one. The one that I like, this business snapshot, because it's visual, not numbers. Oh, once again, I have to, I don't know, see, I gotta go back to 2018. It gives you bar charts. I don't know how I can get back there. I guess, anyway, I gotta somehow move it back to 2018 when I had my data in here. But it gives you nice colored bar charts comparing, comparing year by year, month by month. I don't know, I've done it before. Last month, last fiscal quarter, last fiscal year. All right, I don't know how to change it, but anyways. So anyway, that's a quick overview of QuickBooks, and hopefully that gives you some idea about using it. And the last thing I'd say is, don't just run out and buy it. Make sure you're comfortable. And a lot of people do use it and end up in a total disaster. And I don't mean to downplay QuickBooks, but a lot of people I've seen end up spending more hours trying to make QuickBooks work than you do selling your product or service, and that's not a good thing. But if you're willing to take the time and be patient and learn how to use it, it can be a tremendous benefit. And again, let me go back here. Contact us if we can help you at the website here. And going back to the beginning, that's my email.
And Perry
Please
said that
feel
he has
free to
one more
contact
question.
me. Huh?
Perry says that he has one more question for you.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
just for afterwards. Just for afterwards.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
All right. So again, that's my email. Feel free to contact me if I can be of help. If you have questions, I'm more than glad to try to help you out. So we'll end it here, but I'll stay on a few more minutes if anybody wants to stay and ask any additional questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, how far, when you download the information from your bank account, is that on a month-by-month basis, or can it go back to the beginning of the year?
In other words, the bank keeps track or knows what you've already downloaded. So it'll only download what has not been previously downloaded.
Okay, for instance, I want to download my information from 2020. Is that possible?
I think so, but I'm not positive. If you you can try it and it'll either work or not, or it won't, but I don't know the exact answer to that.
Okay.
I don't know that they necessarily cut it off at the end of a year, so to speak. I would think as long as your bank account data is active, you can download it. And if, I would think that 2020 would still be there, obviously, still be active.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Any suggestions for someone who might use this with a nonprofit
Oh, yeah.
organization?
They have that's a good point. QuickBooks has a nonprofit version.
Okay.
And it's very similar to everything we looked at tonight, except, some of the terminology in there is different because, the nonprofits use different, they don't have stockholders equity, stuff like that. But the nonprofit version is very good. And there are additional features you can get to keep track of donor base, donors. And do marketing out to your donors. So, it's not a version that you see advertised or pushed on their website that much, but they do have it. And, there is a dummies, QuickBooks Dummies book for nonprofit, which is
Oh.
very good. Yeah. So
Thank you.
I would get that book too. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, thank you very much for coming. And again, please feel free to contact me or SCORE.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank you.
much. This is great.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.